Welcome, hunters, to the Hunters Hub, episode 29. Today, just Lobo and myself, and we're gonna just be talking like how we're doing in the game so far. Just sort of like a checkup on the game's state and that kind of stuff. Mostly talk about the recent event quests. But before we get into that, Loborin, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Life's all right. Just a little busy right now.
I understand that for sure. So I guess I'll start out with just where I've been on Monster Hunter lately. You know, I keep dropping my hours, but it's up to 505 hours at this point. I'm Hunter rank 248, I think. And I'm still doing crown hunting despite still keeping up with weeklies. I've still not missed any weekly bounty ever or daily bounty in the spring event. I just finished this week's bounties. So I've basically done everything. I have every single event armor. I haven't crafted every armor, but everything that's like a special thing I've done. And that's not just because I feel obligated to. I've actually, enjoyed doing that. It's nice to sort of break up the monotony with some of the limited bounties. The monotony of crown hunting, that is.
Oh, yeah.
But big news today. I got a gold crown Valhazak.
Oh, how many hunts was that?
81 to get both.
Oof. That is...
81 Valhazaks, with at least 45 of them being tempered.
So now that you've fought Valhazak way too many times, what's the secret to killing Valhazak? For our viewers out there.
Do you have troubles with him or something, or no?
I have a little bit of issues, mostly because I keep getting comboed into, I get stunned in the pool of acid, or when I'm right next to him, I get just comboed, and I can't tell his cues for some reason.
Well, so my biggest challenge in Valhazak is other people dying. So what it is so I have I have it down to almost a formula because he does the same thing every time, right? He
Really?
starts in his nest, he jumps down from his nest into the pool of the second area outside of his nest, and you have 2 or 3 minutes to basically get down there. I normally try to kill the Raphinos, or whatever those are, the flying ones.
Yeah, I see all the speedrunners do that.
Yeah, I killed the 3 of them because I don't want them bothering me when I'm fighting them. So what I do is I slide down, I grab a rock or stones so that on the way, I kill those things, I sharpen so I'm at max sharpness, and he comes around the bend, I shoot him in the face of the rock, and I run straight to the teeth that are hanging down in the top of the ceiling.
I forgot those were there.
Yeah, so I immediately run there, and sometimes he'll do his wave, his yuck wave.
Yeah.
So you have to run up, and I normally just start hitting him at that point. Now, granted, I don't know what you're normally playing with. You're playing with ranged, right? Mostly.
Yeah, ranged or with the gun lance, but you can't block that beam.
No,
with most of anything, you have to have that
you just have
block
to
guard
avoid
out.
it. Yeah. Well, for me, with a longsword being a mobile weapon that can counter, I mean, I just sort of go up in his face when he's doing that.
Okay.
I guess you kind of have to play him close, because the moment that you get too far away, he starts spamming his beam a lot of the time, or jumping at you, which is
that
just
beam
as
goes
dangerous.
far.
Yeah, it does, and it sweeps back and forth
And through the ground.
Yeah. On walls too. It'll go through terrain even. So it's just like a Gravius beam in that aspect. So one of the things that is important to notice, if you do fight Valhazak, I strongly suggest that if you're on ranged, for me, what I would do is probably use the evasion mantle. And let me tell you why. Because you can dodge through that beam and not get hurt.
What's evasion mantle give you? Is it like evasion window +3 or something? Or
I don't know the exact like. I assume that it gives you a better evade. I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
But what it does do is it gives you an adept style dodge that
Really?
increases your attack. Yes.
Huh.
So, um, if you dodge when you were exactly supposed to be hit, it doesn't do like an extra long dodge like it does in Generations or Double Cross. It's just a normal dodge, but it sort of flashes and it vibrates my controller on
Hmm.
PS4. And it gives you an attack boost. It's a and it stacks. It runs out after time, but that attack boost has like a limited time. So like if you evade, you get the attack boost, but the evasion mantle gets you take it off for some reason or it expired. That set time is still going. So,
Okay.
but you can stack them too. I have increased my attack by over 200 at some points, especially when I was fighting Black Diablos. Which,
Oh yeah, because Black Diablos' moves are kind of not gonna say predictable, but I don't mind fighting Diablos as much.
oh yeah, I love fighting Diablos. Still my favorite monster by far. It's so fun, especially when we start learning to dodge through the horns and that kind of stuff. Feels
I,
so
s-
cool.
I imagine it's easier with your. Do you know how to time that counter with the longsword now against it?
Yeah, it's never 100% with me.
Ah,
You have to counter off to the side instead of straight back. Is
really?
is the really the trick? Yeah, you have to counter off to its left instead of because it gores to the left and then it gores to the right.
Oh, I was talking about the charge, but yeah, that makes sense.
Oh no, the charge. Yeah, I don't have any problems with the charge. Have you seen my little Twitter clip that I did?
I would have to go look for it again.
I basically destroyed a Black Diablos with like a ton of counters,
Hmm.
where I was using them offensively too, and I wasn't even following through. Like I would just counter, do the slash, and then immediately like attack and counter again. I was like, it was a really good clip for me. It's not like I'm some sort of pro player, but it
You
was
should
good.
retweet that then, like re-put it back up again, so where I can find it instead of going through everything.
Okay, I will try to do that while I'm talking here.
No, it doesn't have to be right away. It's all good.
um, so yeah, yeah, it's not it's it it's because I know my weapon so well with a longsword that um that I can do that kind of stuff with her. Her the Val.
Yeah.
Um, we don't really know what gender Val is, but it's
Is
not that hard. The thing was, it was just getting the right quest.
oh,
And
that's right.
yeah, and granted, it's a little harder, I think, with elders, because especially because elders they don't they don't have any of those cheat quests in the events. You know what I mean? Like they don't
Right.
have this is an increased crown quest. Every single monster has something like that, except for Black Diablos and the elders.
Hmm.
So it's very hard to it's very hard to do that kind of thing.
Um. So what were you doing? Were you trying to save the almost said relic? Were you trying to save the guild quests that had like 4 rewards or like the high reward ones, or what was the goal that you were aiming for then for quests?
So it seems that the best thing to do is to get a quest that has 3 attempts or less and has to have a gold and a silver, and the more rewards, the better. So you
Hmm.
sort of like filter on that. The one that I got today that was Val, I know it was 50 minutes. I know it was one faint. It was 3 rewards, a gold and 2 silvers, and I got it on the third attempt. Now, granted, I'm not the person to sort of abandon and cheat quests. Um, uh, like sort of like here's the quest. Okay, it's not big enough. I back out. I normally just kill it. Now today, the first time I ever did that with Val, because I've done that with some other monsters. I was like, okay, this is totally not worth my time. I don't need another Puke Puke. I did that towards the end of Puke Puke farming too. Um, So what I did is I abandoned the first two because I knew he was too small. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the second one was a gold crown small. Like it was like so, but I already had one. So I was like, I don't need that. So I did the third one, and I was like, I'm gonna just fight this with whatever. But he was big, and I could tell he was big. But then again, I thought that about many other times.
True.
So it's not an exact science, but that seems to be for me what seems to be the best so far is finding that sort of 3 attempts or less gold and silver at least, and then the better like the worst conditions. Like I think not only was it a one faint quest, but I think it was a 2 hunter quest also.
Okay.
And I soloed it. Now this one wasn't tempered. This was just a regular one. The tempered, I think that you just have to just sort of meet more conditions because the purple rewards are going to be just as good as gold and silver, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But now all that's left is a large Teostra and both small and big for Negligente and Kushala. So
Fun times.
5 left.
Which one's going to be the last one, you think?
For my own sanity, I will probably just sort of like switch between the 3.
Okay. Because I was going to point out, if you're missing Teostra, I believe the Dante event is still happening. Am I wrong?
It is. It is still happening.
So that is a multi-monster quest that does have a Teostra in it.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how much of a chance you have a gold crown on that quest, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't follow any of those formulas. You know what I mean?
I just know it's a very fast quest, though. Like, you get that quest done pretty fast. And you get a bunch of materials for it.
Yeah, and I did it. I did it quite a bit. I got all the stuff, at least.
I'm still working on it, but yeah.
Yeah. So where are you at this point?
So mostly I'm just trying to still get gear. I haven't done many of the augmenting stuff, but that's more of a time constraint because we're busy with other stuff. Just so everybody else is aware, I'm in the process of moving, so that's fun and exciting and not stressful at all when you're trying to make sure everything's packed up and nothing goes missing.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been sneaking in some gameplay here and there. I didn't get as much grinding for like during the last part of Kulve as I wanted to, which kind of makes me
both.
kind of makes me upset now because I've seen some of the light bow guns and stuff people are getting out of it, and man, there are some great light bow guns that you could have gotten, and I didn't get any of them. So
I've heard about a few. I've been told I have one of them. I don't remember what it is exactly, but it is rarity 8.
Yeah, there's that rarity 8, and there's also a heavy bow gun. There's one I want that is, what's it called? The shoot, what was I trying to say? The heavy bow guns that are very good normal guns. The light bow guns are really strong. It's just, and then I didn't get anything like that. I got all the ones I don't use. So
that's okay. I never got a longsword. Well, no, that's not true. I sold the rarity 8 longsword because it sucked. It was just like I would never use this, so I got rid of it.
That's too bad.
So the light bowgun I have, I know for a fact that it does a lot of spread shot, and it has a lot of, loading, advantages for spread shot. It's bad on the recoil, but it loads pretty quick.
All right,
and I mean bad on the recoil is it only goes up to level 3 recoil. But the heavy bow gun, that was the one you sort of coached me through. That you're like, no, that's really good. That's the one that has like 6 pierce level 3 with like 0 deviation. It had like a super fast reload. It was like a 2.
Yeah, as long as it reloads it fast, that's good. Because I got a normal one but it reloads normal shots too slowly, and the recoil after each normal shot's too long. And I'm like, this is kind of garbo.
Anyways, I also just retweeted that clip.
Nice.
So you'd see it. You should see it on their Hunters Hub. Ooh.
But in the meantime, I'm doing the Dante quest. I think I need one more to get all the tickets, and then a lot more grinding to get all the bits to make the gear. Oh, I did get one thing out of the Kulve that I'm very actually happy about. I got a Rarity 8 sleeping switch axe. So that'll be neat to play with. And it's all shiny, and the if for those who never got a Rarity 8, they're, most of the weapons gold, but there's parts that are between the gold that are like stained glass, where it like a little bit of light shines through, and they have different colors and stuff like that. The switch axe is absolutely covered in that stained glass look, and it's nice. It's a very pretty looking weapon. Downside, I was gonna say downside, it's a hidden element sleep, but whatever, it'll go good with the Kulve gear anyway.
it'll go good with the meta elementalists.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Whoops.
Yeah. I don't follow the meta, so.
Yeah. But it's fun.
I was going to ask, just mention, I guess, not ask. We haven't got to play together a lot lately. We've both been kind of busy. Me with family stuff and you with moving. So, I haven't got to play as much as normal.
Have you gotten to try any other weapons? I know you've been hooked on longsword, but you were given a couple things a little bit more attention previously.
No, I still mostly stay with longsword because I have such little time to sort of sink into another weapon.
Okay.
But the plan is to basically drop the longsword almost entirely, pick up a new weapon until I feel I have mastered it, and then move on once I do crown hunting. Once that's finished.
All right. So since that's a ways out, do you have any idea what you're going to go to next?
Honestly, I'm probably going to go. I think Greatsword. I think Greatsword is a weapon that I have sorely missed using because I was only ever competent in it in the first game. Because after the first game, I immediately went hammer and never looked back at that weapon.
Speaking of which, you'll be proud of me. I picked hammer back up, and I'm actually enjoying it. I still need to find a way to put flinch free in my outfit so I don't want to hurt my other hunters that I'm with. But hammer's pretty fun. I love getting the big slams. I've been using it for the Dante quest, and just.
It's my backup when you have to do the arena quests and challenge quests and that kind of stuff. If longsword isn't available, the hammer is my backup.
Huh.
I'm still pretty decent with the hammer, just because it's always been such a simple weapon.
I think I finally mastered the using charge 2 to dash at things and cover more ground.
Yeah, it helps.
That reaches pretty high for a hammer attack.
It always has. It always has this level 2 of the charge. I used that a lot when fighting Lagiacrus in 3rd gen. Because you could just reach the bottom of his chin a lot of the time.
That's true. I do admit, though, I haven't been using all my free time for Monster Hunter. Mostly because I have a hard time staying with one game. So I've also been playing a lot of Everybody's Golf and Hearthstone and stuff like that.
I don't blame you. I mean, I've been working on our secret project. Ding. But
yes.
I've been working on our secret project. Aside from I've been limiting it to maybe 2 or 3 quests a day with Monster Hunter, which is probably why it took me over a month to get a Val Hazak Gold Crown Large.
Oh man.
But I wasn't just exclusively doing Val. I've also been doing Teostra. I actually mostly focused on Teostra at first, and then I ran out of Teostra investigations and haven't got any since. So
isn't the quest Val running right now to get a lot of high-ranking investigations?
There could be.
I think the simple task is running right now.
Yeah, probably. I should probably do that.
Yeah, just trying to help you out because I know that is an insane task. I just still remember back to when you were going for after Puke Puke and you're slowly losing it before our eyes.
Well, I maintained myself at least a little bit.
Yes.
I've mostly been playing a mobile game too, which I don't even know. I mean, I'll have to look. I actually found it. It was an advertisement, I think, on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. It's just like, hey, play this game and Legendary Heroes?
Huh.
Yeah, Legendary Game of Heroes. It's a match 3 game where you build your team with fire.
I have been seeing that one advertised.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, it's good. But I'm not, like, I'm a sucker for those gacha games anyways, aside from Fire Emblem Heroes, because I don't know what it is about that game, but...
I have a app recommendation for people then, because I have one that's been keeping my attention as well.
Yeah? Castle
Cats. If you like tapping and barely gacha games, like, there's not much gameplay to this game. I won't lie to you. It's... If you ever horrible. If you ever use the World of Warcraft garrison thing where you had like adventurers you signed out on heroes, you had to assign ones with certain skills to certain quests, and you sent them off, and then you just waited time for them to come back. That's basically what this is. But the draw of it is that it has cats and they wear outfits and they're adorable, and that's about it. I'm a simple man. I like cats.
So what you're saying is a not as good Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's basically like the it's the Palico quest. There you go. It's like playing with the Palicos, where you'd send out the different types of Palicos to hunt the different locales.
They made it into a mobile game and charge you $7 per outfit.
Luckily, they don't. It's not too heavy on the ads, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Sorry, folks, if this is a little tangential today. We're kind of taking it easy. We just had. Oh gosh, the Carve on last week, which went really well, and before that we had Wolfie Melon on. So we've had a lot of guests on, and we've been like a really high energy. And I I think it's okay to take a step back every once in a while for an episode.
Oh yeah, I mean, people come to listen to this to relax. They're not coming for super high analysis time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, as we made it very clear with SPJ and Micah last week. Yeah, we are not that hardcore podcast. Although I am a hardcore player, I'm just don't ask me how to build meta stuff. I don't know. Don't.
I will maintain this, and this is still my diehard theory on Monster Hunter, is that the monsters can read frame data and they know exactly when your attacks are going to end.
I don't think that's true.
That might just be me being salty, but I swear they know frame data because there's so many times where it's like, that shouldn't have hit. You knew when that attack was going to end, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it's just bad luck or something. Because if that was true, like people like Kanta wouldn't be able to do what they do. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true.
They're super amazing at the game just because they know the ins and outs of the mechanics so well, and I'm never going to be that good.
I saw a couple more of those Monster Hunter speedrunners, and man, Monster Hunter speedrunner people are crazy. Sorry, but they they have some good memory of how things work. I forget things as I'm fighting a monster, so
I mean, I kind of feel like some of those monsters that I was crown hunting, I was at speedrunner level. I mean, like, apparently I was, like you said, like, oh, that's something speedrunners do with Val. And I'm like, okay. I guess. Just the best way I found to do it. After 81 of them.
Yeah.
Holy cow. And Teoster's not that far behind. I checked him, 77, and I still have to get the large crown.
So, fun thing I wanted to tell you about, specifically about monster hunting, and this might not even be the fastest. This is something that came out a month ago, and it's still the fastest one I saw. Solaner Gigante, 57 seconds.
Wow.
Yep.
How did they do that?
They had attack up 4, crit eye 4, weakness exploit 3, critical boost 3, with the Nergigante bow. I don't know how you do it. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I actually just posted the weapon thread on Reddit. The weapon discussion is the bow this week. So
I
by the
like
time you
I like
go
a
ahead.
bow a lot more, by the way. Just because you mentioned the weapon discussion, it is significantly easier than it was to use than previous
Yeah.
games.
I guess I got something wrong on the post and someone corrected me. I guess dodging while charging doesn't just immediately take you to level 3.
Oh
It
yeah, it
only
just steps up one.
it steps up 1, but I
Yep.
guess it charges so fast now that like I never wasn't at level 3 when I did that.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
it doesn't take a lot to get to level 2, and so when you dodge, you're immediate level 3. Oh, also, the person who did Nergigante under a minute was doing the jumping attack thing, where they, while you're holding a charge, you press the dodge towards a pillar, you'll run up the pillar, jump off, and then you can do a spread shot.
yep.
And you can just chain those together over and over again, and that's how I did it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That
Uh,
that makes sense.
There's another, and this is something I wanted to bring up, just because I like watching speedruns. I don't speedrun anything except for I tried to speedrun Link's Awakening one time a couple years
Good luck.
ago. I have most of it memorized, but an insane speedrun I've been seeing category popping up in Monster Hunter is Zora Percentage. It's where you start at the very beginning of the game and you speedrun to Zora Magdaros.
No.
Yep. It is, from what I can find, 4 hours and 30 minutes is about how long it takes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Like, I've seen some long speed runs. There's a couple out there that are like, like 8-9 hours for a speed run. But Monster Hunter is one of those weird ones. I didn't think I was like, are you just wearing nothing for armor the whole time? That's my concern.
They're probably just crafting stuff as they go,
I
making
guess.
hodgepodge sets. I would bet.
One thing I did want to find, and because it kind of related to those speed runs of the whole game of Monster Hunter, there was a Reddit post a while back. Somebody did, and I think this was for you. They did a Iron Man. No, it's not the right word. Basically, a run through of Monster Hunter 4, where they were only allowed to do each quest once ever, and then they had to move on to the next quest.
Yeah, it sounds like something like an Iron Man would be.
And so they basically just had to make whatever armor came to them. So they always tried to like hunt extra monsters in the zones and everything like that. And it was impressive because he documented the whole process, like talking about how he was struggling at this point because something wasn't dropping. So he had to change his plans and going after something else in order to actually get through the game.
Yeah.
And he ended up finishing it. So for those of people who might be bored of Monster Hunter World, challenge runs. You can always find something to do.
Yeah, I think after I'm probably gonna take like maybe a week break, maybe not a whole week after the crown hunting's done. Because I mean, like I've played every day since it came out. I think there's eventually going to be a point where I just need to not play a day, so I just get past that mental barrier of not playing.
First step to fixing a problem is admitting you have a problem.
I would agree with you normally, but I don't. I think. I don't know. Like I didn't. I felt a compulsion to keep playing like a couple weeks ago, but like this week I was like, I've seriously considered just not playing, and it's been like I have like 20 minutes. I guess I can do 2 quests. Like it's like it's not like oh I have to play anymore. It's more like, well, I really want to get progress on the crown hunting or the limited bounty or that kind of thing. So I might end up just doing the limited bounties and checking out the weekly events for a while.
Okay.
Who knows? I don't know. Like,
at least keep doing the limited bounties so that way you're sitting on a massive pile of gems.
Yeah, I've done every limited bounty, and I've only used 2 of those tickets, the golden ones.
Wow.
So, yeah, I could probably easily tell you how many have existed if I go look.
You could do the crazy thing like one of our old guests did, where you make one of every piece of gear and one of every weapon.
A lot of people do that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that person.
I used to, but as I keep complaining about in the podcast, I am poor in Monster Hunter. Just, I never have money for anything.
I guess now would be a great time to mention that I broke the, was it 15 million mark?
Wow.
I've literally crafted event armor recently, and that's it. Speaking of which, the Sakura quest, have you done that?
I have not yet. Which is the actual monsters behind that one?
It's a pink Rathian.
Ooh. That makes sense, but also, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the cherry blossom. But you'll have to do a challenge quest. Now, there's 3 challenge quests, and any one of them work. And it wasn't that bad. I only had to do it 3 times.
Oh, it's one of those ones where you go into an arena for it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And it's on the second page. I couldn't find it when I went up there. I was like, why? I don't see it. I didn't even consider there was a second page of challenge quests, like a dummy. So I looked up Eric's video on how to get the armor, and I was like, oh, it's on the second page. I feel stupid.
Is it tuned for multiple people, or can you do it with a single person?
You can do it with 2.
Oh, okay.
Arena quests allow you to use 2 people because they're ranked online. Your times are ranked.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It definitely suggests using 2 if you can. I did it solo. I've done them almost all of them solo, but it is kind of tough solo, at least a little bit. So one of the skills that the Sakura thing gives you, or at least the challenge with the armor they give you for that quest, is it has Fortify. I made a lot of use of Fortify on that quest.
Which is Fortify? I'm trying to remember that one.
When you faint, you get an attack and defense boost.
Oh, and arena quests allow quite a bit of feints, don't they?
Yeah, it's 9 total.
Jeez. I wonder if is there
they
a cap?
don't give you any healing. They don't give you any healing aside from megas, or not megas, max potions.
Wow.
Yeah, 0 healing. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna die. So I was reserving them for when I did die, having a bigger max health pool. But it's a decent quest. It's faster than I thought it was, but
okay. Did you grab randoms online, or do you hunt with somebody new?
I did it by myself.
Oh,
wow. I did longsword, I did hammer, and I did. What was the other one I did? Crap, I can't remember. I did 3 different weapons, and I don't even remember what the third one I did, but the hammer is the one I did best with, and I actually got a B.
Nice.
So I ended up getting 1 extra ticket than I needed because you only need 4. And A rank gives you 3, B rank gives you 2, and C rank gives you 1. So my first one I got a C with the longsword because it's a terrible longsword. It's the Betelgeuse one, the Beetlejuice one.
Oh, you don't like that longsword?
I don't like it. It's got negative affinity on it, and they don't give you anything to mitigate that.
It's at least a cool looking longsword, though.
Well, it looks cool. That's not the issue. It just I didn't like it because it wasn't a lot of times challenge quests they give it like, oh yeah, there's this armor set in this weapon, but they're not like
synced
they're
up
not really
good.
They're not optimized. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
in the world, you would be optimized for your gear. And the Beetlejuice longsword needs optimization because it does have a bad affinity. So having a bad affinity was sort of like, okay, this is taking longer than I want it to.
Okay.
And I don't think it has that much great of a blast element to it. Or I just suck. I don't know. But it was just... It felt like the longsword one was a bit of a slog, but the hammer one went by pretty well.
All right.
Yeah, I have no idea what I did the third quest with. I know it was the one I did second.
Gunlance.
No, it wasn't. Might have been bow.
I think I've asked this before, but is there any weapons you absolutely do not like? Like you would just throw it to the ground and you're like, nope, not using it. Bad.
Hunting horn.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like using hunting horn. Mostly because it's like, hey, play these tunes and buff yourself, and I'm just not. I don't do that. I don't even use items to buff myself. So like, why am I gonna stand there? Like, I like just to get in there and play. I don't like to, prep that much, which is kind of counterintuitive to how the game goes. But I'm okay with prepping before the quest, but in the quest, I'm in and I go. I don't really particularly like using dual blades that much. Mostly because I don't like that kind of high level stamina management you have to do with them.
It's a lot easier now. Like, it does not drain nearly as much as it used to, though.
Right. And I also think it's a limiting factor I have with bow also. I like bow. I like bow in concept. I like using it. I don't like the stamina drain for charging your shots. So just like, I don't know. Like those three weapons, I tend to, even though I play bow a lot, I would say that those three are like my least favorite. But like, I don't know. I'm okay with gun lance. I'm not really good at it per se.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to discuss like today, because we didn't have too much to discuss, but I did have an idea of looking back on Kulve. How'd you end up liking it overall? Like, did you end up enjoying it at the end, or was it something you really liked? I thought it was fun, and I
like it.
I hope they do more things like it.
Well, given the leaked list, I don't think we're going to get anything like that unless they turn Lunastra into something very different. But or a Latrian. But I'm happy that they did this. It was a nice way to keep the hype going after the Spring Festival, for sure. Yeah. It just was like one after another. But now, after Kulve's gone, we've sort of hit this like dead zone. Granted, Dante's exciting, and so is Sakura. But like they're, like do 4 quests and done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not this ongoing grind that Kulve was. Kulve brought a lot of those people who dropped off recently with me in the squad that we're playing.
Yeah.
A lot of them have come back, and I think they're good back for a while at least.
I saw a comparison the other day that Kulve was basically like a Lao Sheng Long, but better, in that they have that slow moving thing where you can just kind of wail on a monster, but you actually got the satisfaction instead of just at the end being like, well, I guess we're done. Cool.
Have you ever fought Leo?
No.
So, Kulve and Leo are only similar in Phase 1 of Kulve, and Phase 1 and 2 and 3 of Leo. I think it's the first 3 areas. Yeah, maybe 2. Basically, there's an ending area where Leo is actively... it's not that much different from Gen Moran when the boat is banked.
Oh, okay.
And you're protecting the boat. Leo Shun is attacking the fortress, and you have to stop him from destroying the fortress. So it's a little more exciting at the end. Like, I have never minded Leo Shun's fight that much. It's sort of like a DPS race. So...
okay.
And I mean, that's basically what Gen Moran was, right? So...
right.
Or Darren Moran, whichever one you identify with more.
Darn moron.
Gen. Darn moron. There you go. That's a good one. But yeah, like it's just like a DPS race at the end. Like, hey, it's sort of lumbering. They just, they made it more cinematic in 3rd and 4th gen. But I don't have a problem with Leo. I don't think he's near as boring as people say that he is. He's boring in those types where he's walking, for sure. But heck, back in the day, it was like a real like nail biter. Like, are we going to be able to take this thing down before it destroys the fort?
I just think that Kulve was able to bring back that faster, we gotta go faster feeling of like scrambling to do as much damage as they could. And then instead of just being ended like, yay, we passed the DPS check, it turned into, yay, we passed the DPS check. Oh god, what is that? And then, you have the Unleashed version just wrecking shop.
Yeah, I finally got to see the NCH video about Coolvay, and it was pretty darn funny. Like, it was like not only just like the how to build a Coolvay, but like the actual like different phases, like the more traditional NCH style of video, like the different like snippets of tips. The part where she's like scandalous, like when they knock off her gold and stuff, it was just so funny. It was some good stuff.
I liked the quest. I like how they hyped it up. I love the organization that went into it. Like, people got into it like pretty big groups and stuff. Even randoms were getting into it, and thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was the first time I went into random rooms for sure. I played on the Carves room once with them, not directly, but in the same room. Like, they put out on Twitter, hey, we're gonna play, and I joined them. And I normally wouldn't have done something like that. So Coolvay was a good way to get people together for sure. And the weapons were neat, an idea. I kind of figured they might be replacing weapons at certain points, but I don't think they are.
There are a few that are pretty good and competing heavily with like the endgame ones, but overall they seem like a side grade. Or some of them there wasn't an equivalent to the already existing ones. Like, what's like the bows? The bows were not great, but
right.
It's still kind of a cool thing that for people who like fashion hunting. Like, oh, cool, I can have a shiny gold weapon version of a gun or a weapon I like. And it's like, all right, neat. Might as well throw it in there.
Yeah. It also, if you're like me and you sort of focus on one weapon, it kind of helps you branch out into other weapons too. Like, I have 2 Rarity 8 gun lances now, which I didn't have anything above the beginner gun lance before. So that's a good thing.
I just think I know we're getting near the end of the leaked list as terms of like what else is coming.
Right.
But I'm hoping they do have more stuff like this in store for us. I'd love to see more things because this actually felt like a hunt versus, all of them are obviously hunts, but
right.
At the same time, a lot of times it feels kind of like you're just going out to slaughter something. Like, oh yeah, it's gonna die. We're gonna find it and it's gonna die. This one felt like an actual effort to bring down a monster.
Yeah. It felt more daunting, I should say.
Yeah, but then again, I like Dalamador, so maybe it's just I like the whole going out to fight a world-ending, crazy, awesome boss, and I always like those fights where it feels like you're actually trying to stop the end of the world or something terrible from happening.
Well, I mean, that wasn't happening with Coolvay. Coolvay was more, there's a new monster, we really have to research it, kind of thing.
I wish they'd gone into more detail, like the background of the first time it showed up, because they're like, everybody knows it and they're like, yeah, it got away last time. And it's like, what did it do so much that you guys really, really want it? Like,
it was covered in gold. Don't you understand? Oh, man.
But I don't know. I just think it'd be neat to have them if they had introduced more story elements.
Yeah.
Who else is left on our super extreme leak list?
I think it's just Elatrion and Lunastra.
And Luna is going to be weird. Elatron, I do hope they do something special for him, because a lot of people like Elatrion. I don't know why, but a lot of people do.
I mean, he's a challenging fight. He was always a very, very challenging fight. And I think that's part of the reason why people would be excited right now.
He was in 3, right?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was the original boss in Tri.
Oh.
And then he's sort of I'm trying to think of a comparison, but there isn't really a good one I can think of. Basically, there's the boss, and then there's the expansion boss, You know what I mean? So he's the boss, and then like the expansion boss is, um, crap. What is his name? Dire Morales.
Oh, I never fought or know anything about Dire Morales. All I know is like people describe it as a volcano dragon.
Yeah, he had. You know how like Valfal has those sort of like tubed wing appendages.
Yeah.
So imagine it's a like a more muscular, wider Fatalis sort of style, and down its back are those tubular structures, and they shoot out like magma balls, and that's what Diaralis was.
Huh. Weird.
And he was huge. He was he a lot of times he was submerged like in the water, and you had to go fight him in the water, and then he would come out of the water, and you'd fight him on land.
Huh.
It was a different fight. Kind of tough at times, but once you figured it out, it wasn't too bad.
All right. That's really all I had. It was just I thought it was a great event. I hope they do more like it, and the upcoming events I think are going to be neat. And I'm just still excited to see what else they got coming.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever the May update is. Although they didn't say anything about May update, I don't know if we're getting one.
I'm excited for whatever they do in Halloween in Octoberland. I hope they do something.
Maybe.
Like
I mean, they'll probably do an event.
Spooky Day of the Dead or something. I don't know.
Maybe we'll get that pumpkin Urigan.
I think it'd be fun to fight a skeletal wyvern. I know that's silly to have because Monster Hunter has never been about magic, but you know.
I mean, Val.
Super Val Hazak. Actually have a Draco Lich give Val Hazak some ice powers or something.
I mean, Val's essentially a zombie. He's alive, but he's essentially a zombie. What I was going to say is I'm looking forward to E3.
That's right.
Now, that's sooner. That's a lot sooner. I mean, we're May, June. It's next month. So...
Oh.
That's going to be... normally I would say, like, a lot of people are like, hey, what's going to happen at E3? And, when I was, doing the moderator thing on Reddit, and I'm like, guys, calm down. Nothing's happening at E3. Like, every other year, they don't do Monster Hunter news at E3. Well, last year, that changed. So,
yeah.
I wonder if that's going to happen this year.
Speaking of E3, did you hear the other kind of big news that's been announced?
I mean, there's a lot of news for E3, but no, I don't know what you're referring to, at least.
Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, I know that they're I know about that. Yeah,
I think that's more surprising because Nintendo's never been one to be like, oh, we're gonna announce it at this press conference, and they just kind of blow it out of the water this time. So hey, maybe this will be the year that we get a lot of new stuff because everybody's gonna be competing or something. I don't know.
Hopefully. I was gonna say I might be a person that's on all sides of the fence here soon. As far as the gaming console goes.
Really?
Yeah. So I already have a Switch and a PS4, and still have my Wii U somewhere. Actually, I shouldn't say somewhere. I'm looking right at it. It's behind me, but not hooked up. My wife is very bent on. You have to have real friends that real people. So she's like been trying to set me on like friend dates with her guy friends at work. And one of these things is they play a lot of Fortnite. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not really interested. And they're like, she's like, well, they're also on Xbox. I'm like, see? And she's like, but I'm going to buy you an Xbox. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
Why would you buy me an Xbox so I can hang out with your friends that I don't know? She's like, well, I mean, you got to get to know them first. So like,
you need more real life friends. Also, I'm buying you another game console.
Well, yeah, I was like, I can't really say no to an Xbox, but right. I don't really need it. Oh man, I don't know. It's very surprising. Normally she's like, nope, you can only, we have like a budget or that kind of thing, and she's just like, I was like, I'm not going to raise the question about budget for this Xbox, but it's at least playing in my brain.
You're not getting that Christmas gift this year, Fortuan.
What Christmas gift? I have kids. Christmas is gone for me. It's all the kids now. I'm not even joking. Like, my wife totally forgot about me the first Christmas that Cece was born.
What?
Totally forgot entirely. She's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't get you anything." I was like, "Yep, you didn't."
Whoops.
Nah, it's not a big deal. But I mean, you do really focus on your kids more in those situations. But we should probably move on to Monster Balloon.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. I'm like, that's all I really had left. And the last thing we have is a fun Monster Balloon.
Oh, goody.
So, did you know Monster Balloon also serves in-flight meals to all our researchers? Most of the researchers being, the typical nerdy type of people that researchers are, they all love sushi. And we use the finest ingredients from our sushi, freshly harvested from the local Plesioth. This giant fish dragon supplies plenty of meat for our researchers, and plenty of disposable bodies for the researchers we don't need that we send to go get it. This week we're going to talk about the Plesioth. It is continuing the theme of just terrible monsters that I hate. We went from...
we'll say Plesioth is my number 4.
Let's see, what did we go from? We went through Cephadrome. Dang, I had the whole list here.
Kazoo.
Yeah, we went through Kezu, we went through Cephadrome, we went through, what's his name, Gypsaros, all the annoying people, and we're going to cap it off with the King of Annoyance. For those who've never seen a Plesioth, hopefully they never come to Worlds, but if they do, be on the lookout for a giant fish monster. And it is a giant fish that stands on 2 legs that has fin wings and fins on its face and a giant tail.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the fish it most resembles, but I was having a hard time figuring that out.
It looks more like a oh crap, there's a name for it. If you imagine, it's got the frilly fins, sort of like an oarfish, but it's in more of a shark-like posture. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's more of a frilly fish with a shark structure.
In Japan, it is called the Gano Totosu. And if you can't guess what element a fish uses in Monster Hunter, I'm not going to tell you. But I will tell you it is weak to thunder and fire. And it also can inflict sleep on it.
Yes.
On you. Its main attacks are either slamming you with its hip, which in former games was very famous for not having a great hitbox.
Yep.
On average, they're pretty large monsters. Like, I would say, if it were to fold its wings up and maybe tuck its tail in, be the size of like an ambulance, maybe. But its hitbox when it did the hip slam was the size of a dump truck. You could be like, if it's like trying to hit to the right of it, you could be standing on the left and you would get hit by this monster.
Yeah.
It was. Just go look up a video sometime. It's fun.
I would say for size comparison, both Plesioth and Gravius were very similar in size, and I would compare them to the size of Xeno'jiiva as far as length goes.
Really? That's...
Yeah.
I'd say maybe Xeno'jiiva's tail.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I keep forgetting how long Xeno'jiiva's tail is. They're certainly, if they were in World, they would be some of the biggest monsters. They're bigger than Devil Joe, aside from when Devil Joe's a World Eater.
I thought it was a little bit bigger than a Rathalos, because you can still hit its head pretty easily.
When Plesioth is standing up straight, no. When he's in the battle posture, his head is lower.
Okay. But that's what I was thinking, is when he's in his battle.
Yeah, when he's just walking around. Well, when Teostra or Kushala, they're just walking around, their heads held up high. You can't hit their heads.
Oh yeah, true.
Like, it's kind of like that. Like, Plesioth are huge, and they were big, they were absolutely massive in the first game. Same with Gravius. They're bigger than Rathalos. They're much bigger than Rathalos. So
because Monster Hunter is measured in centimeters, those of you who are over, not in America might know this better. But the gold crown size for a Plesioth is 3,877 centimeters.
Yeah, that's big. By the way, the gold crown large Val, which is huge, did not break 3,000. It was 2,800 something. So,
really? Wow.
That's some context.
They can also... Nice. They can also attack by shooting a super high-pitched pressurized jet of water. Mm-hmm. Like, if you've ever seen those water cutters that are cutting through stone, it's about the same look.
Or steel.
It says... Oh, yeah, that's right. It says they use sleep. I don't remember how they inflict sleep.
Same way this Cephadrome. It does this sort of glide low across the ground, and if you get hit by it, it does massive damage and puts you to sleep.
Oh, that's the wiggly attack that does that?
No, the wiggly attack is just an attack. It actually glides like a good 5 feet up off the ground. It just it's just a jump. It just goes. Psh. It happened a lot in the northern area of the desert. Remember we talked about a long time ago, the old desert in For You. It's like, oh, the shifting sands heading down. Take that same shape, put it down on a platform. It's in ankle deep water, surrounded by a cave full of water, and that's what that used to be. And that cave in the desert is where Plesioth was when he wasn't in the jungle. And he would jump from side of that circle area to the circle area using that attack. He would sort of torpedo across the ground.
I'm unfortunate that whenever I think of Plesioth, I only think of the arenas that you fight him in. I think in Generations you could fight him in an arena.
Yeah, probably.
And then in I'm trying to remember the person who made the things. The same person who did Clashing Beats.
Yeah. Also
did a video where he showed him fighting. There was an event quest in 3U where you had to fight a giant, supersized, larger, twice as large as Gold Crown Plesioth, and then one that was also its head only went up to your waist at the same time. So supersized Plesioth and then tiny one. They had all the same attacks and they could hit just as hard as each other. It was a very weird fight. There are a couple variants to Plesioth, by the way. The first one that most people know about is just the green Plesioth. It is a Plesioth that is green.
Yep.
And it didn't really have too much of a change to it. It used its beam a little bit more, its water beam.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it was very the same. One thing that is to note is to fish up Plesioth in case you ever want to go fishing for something that's terrible. You can use frogs. And this used to be a thing to get them out of the water. You could get frogs and you could go fishing on the side of the lake or wherever they spawned. And they would occasionally grab the frog and you could pull them out of the water. I don't know how you as a human lifted up a Plesioth out of the water, but you know what? Good for you.
I remember doing that.
There are a couple more variants, including 2 from the other land. One of them is called the Sea Bream Plesioth, and it's actually from Monster Hunter Explorer. Anybody who knows sushi knows Sea Bream is commonly used in that, and it is just a krill shrimp pink Plesioth with a wide underbelly, so it looks exactly like a shrimp on land, and it's got a little laurel around its head with a little dollop of, I think, mayonnaise or something on top for garnish. I'm not even joking. I wasn't able to find information about its moves, however, because it turns out trying to find information about a Japanese-only mobile game for Monster Hunter is extremely difficult. Also, I sent Fortuan, I just put a picture of it in our spot so you can see what it looks like.
Oh, dear. Okay.
It is just a sushi version of a Plesioth.
Yeah, it looks like a spicy tuna roll.
Would you eat a Plesioth? I don't know if I would.
I probably would. Now that I haven't said this before. I'm no longer vegan again.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's shocking. So what changed that?
wife needed something that isn't meat for her to not deal with problems. So she still is primarily vegan, but she has to take a supplement. But for me, I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like caring too much about what I eat. So
what did you break the vegan diet with? Can I ask? I know this is going off topic, but
my first thing that I ate that wasn't.
Yeah. Did you go out and get a steak, or did you have something conservative?
I think I had like a sausage patty for breakfast.
Wow. All right. So back to the Plesioth thing. There are 2 other types from the wonderful land of Frontier.
Cool. I'm excited.
So, as most other monsters we've met, it's called the Hardcore Plesioth. They're really original in these names, huh?
Yeah, it was always just a category.
So the Hardcore Plesioth is, it's much more muscly, and it's got more, its color's a bit different. Its wings are all spotted and everything. It's much more land-based, of course, because I don't believe Frontier has underwater combat. So unlike the normal Plesioth, where whenever it uses its water beam, it just generally shoots in a straight line, and honestly, I don't think I've ever been hit by its water beam. The Hardcore variant can actually sweep its water beam from left to right. So have fun dodging.
Green can do that. Yeah.
Really? Okay, see, again, I never got to fight Green, so I didn't know anything about it. It also used body slams. It used sleep clawing liquids, so it wouldn't use it as its little wiggle glide attack thing.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of secreted it. It also would fake sleep, which it's such a weird thing to put on a Plesioth. Like, keep that garbage on Crigipteros, but whatever.
Yeah, I like it.
It also not only would it charge, but it could jump while it's charging, and it would U-turn mid-air to body slam and slither back towards you.
Awesome.
So, fun times. And then the final variant of it is, it has a Zenith variety.
Awesome. Okay. So what's the Zenith one?
So, the Zenith variety is blue and red. It's a very pretty color, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, here, I'll even put this one in chat for you. If anybody wants to look these up, they are also on the Monster Hunter Wikia. It is a larger Plesioth, as if it needed to be larger. All of its focus seems to be more towards its face, so it actually has, instead of the gentle fins it had before, it has spines on the top of its head and coming up from its jaw.
Yeah, this almost looks like ice teeth at the bottom. Like, that's weird.
It still used water, though, and it actually appeared in the desert. It was no longer a water-based fish. So it wouldn't quite use as much water, obviously, because it's in the desert. It has to conserve a little bit, but it made up for that by whenever they did their wiggle attack, they would throw a green gel like all over the arena, and if it hit the hunters, it would trap hunters inside the gel and hold them in place.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it just imagine anger Plesioth, but also it can make you stop moving, so you can't avoid being hip checked. And then
ultimate punishment: hip checks are guaranteed.
Also, this Plesioth could actually roar, because for those who don't know, Plesioth really doesn't roar ever.
And it makes noises, but yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't do a normal scream like when you engage it.
Just like Jury taught us.
Break your combos or whatever. But this Plesioth lets out very loud roars, so you actually have to have high rank earplugs in order to block it.
Nice.
And it's just kind of neat that I'm liking that they keep mixing up these things, monsters like this. I wish we'd get them more over here. Yeah. But it's still cool seeing them be changed and get ideas made up.
Yep. I look forward to E3. I'm hoping that all this crazy stuff could come at E3.
What's cool is it looked like in the original concept art of the Zenith Plesioth, they looked like they were originally going to make it look like an anglerfish.
Oh.
Because its jaw teeth were much more up. And, oh yeah, also forgot to mention, it has really pale eyes, like they're glossed over.
Yeah.
But, there you have it. Please, oh yeah, that's right. Normally I forgot, I usually talk about the weapons and stuff that you can make from it. Unfortunately, you cannot cut a Plesioth's tail off.
Just break it.
But, you can make nice water weapons from it. Generally, they're pretty sharp weapons from what I've been able to find.
Yeah, they're actually top-tier water if you're going to use them.
Downside, they look like fins. So if you want to use a fin, have at it.
I don't know. I think the greatsword looks pretty awesome.
The greatsword's pretty cool. I just, in particularly, don't like the spear, like the lance.
Oh, okay.
Because it's so thin and frail looking.
Okay.
But I do like the greatsword. It's the big spiky thing.
Mm-hmm.
The gun lance is the thing. I don't know how you make a gun lance out of a fish, but sure.
The hammer is the Plesioth head. I know that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they put the head on a stick,
just like Gypsarus.
Its sword and shield in particular was always used quite a bit because it is actually a sleep sword and shield. It looks like a little hook.
Yeah.
And if you can get it early on, hey, go for it. It's pretty good. Same thing with its light bow gun, I think it is.
I wouldn't know about that one, but okay.
It's either the light bow gun or the heavy bow gun. The reason why is because early on it will... it has a lot of water damage or water shots that you can use for it.
Yeah.
And in Generations, I believe it had piercing water shots, so you could just destroy a Gravios before it can even touch you.
Wow. So,
for those people who are having issues with Gravios and Basario, all those types of things, yeah, just blow them up with water. It also had a weird... I looked up the longsword for it. Apparently there was a longsword for the Plesioth in 3U. It looks like a scythe. Like a scythe with a fin on it, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
I don't remember what their armor usually gives. Do you, offhand?
Not skills-wise, no.
Yeah. Either way, it always looks weird because it looks like a bodysuit made out of Plesioth. I know some of them have, at least the old gunner ones, they would actually have like a big collar. I don't know why, but that's a thing.
Nope.
Other than that, that's Plesioth. It's honestly a really simple monster, but the reason it's well remembered is because of the hip checks, and in older games, trying to get it to come out of the water was a pain. Because sometimes it would just stand in the water and shoot at you.
Forever.
And wait for you.
Forever.
And if you couldn't swim in that game, you had to be careful where you killed it.
Yeah.
Because if you killed it in the water, you can't carve it. You just get to stare at a floating body of monster bits.
Yep.
And get nothing from it.
Yep. That was not an uncommon thing.
But that's really all I had today with the hunting balloon.
I will say,
luckily,
I mentioned this at the beginning. Plesioth is actually my number 4 favorite, and it's a lot of the reason because of Diablos was my number 1. No one wants to fight this thing, so I would always be like, but I just want to fight it for this. I love it for its weapons. I love it for the sort of fish suit, like swimmer's armor that it has. Like it's got a unique style and that kind of thing. The fight isn't really that hard once you learn how to dodge it. It's not that bad, and I played Hammer against it, so no blocking there. The hip checks were just I'm sorry to say, but punishing people who didn't know how to dodge well.
Yeah, it does have a very predictable windup.
Yeah. So,
it's...
I'm not trying to be like, hey, you guys suck if you got hit by a Plesioth hip checks, because that was a large hitbox, but it's not as bad as people say it is.
I will say it did teach people to guard too, because it teaches you don't guard just towards the monster, guard towards the direction the attack is coming from.
Right.
Because once again, even if it's hip checking the other way from you, you would want to guard away from the monster.
Right.
Because you're guarding into the attack.
Yes.
It sounds weird until you see somebody do it.
Yep.
But thankfully, that ends the series little discussion on annoying monsters for now. We're gonna go into more people's favorite monsters and other more exciting ones next time.
Cool. So thank you, hunters, for joining us today. This is at Fortuan. You'll probably catch me better at Hunters Hub Pod. So catch all the updates for the podcast and just me retweeting a lot of stuff and making funny updates. I try to be funny. Sorry, I'm not, but I try.
Womp womp.
Yeah. So I guess I'll see you guys next quest. But Lobo, where can we find you?
You will find me surrounded moving boxes and attempting not to lose my mind, and also potentially making this thing called a Twitter account. We'll see.
Yes. Alrighty. Then, by the way, did you see that clip? I just put it on the chat.
I did see it. It was impressive.
Yes. Finally, I can say that I'm decent at something. I meant at the game. I think I'm a good dad.
I noticed you said the word think.
Oh yeah, I'm not really a good judge of that until CC screen. That is the coolest design for long. Thank you, hunters, for listening today. You can catch us on SoundCloud or any past episodes on Google Drive download or YouTube.